Welcome brave souls to Dreadful Diaries, where the shadows whisper secrets and the night holds untold horrors. If you crave the thrill of the unknown, make sure to subscribe and join our community of fellow horror enthusiasts. Now dim the lights, grab a blanket, and let's dive into our first tale of terror.
It was 11:57 p.m., and Ethan's apartment was bathed in the blue glow of his dual monitors. His webcam hummed softly, capturing his face as he leaned into the mic, his voice upbeat despite the late hour. "Alright, chat, let's keep the vibes going. Who's ready for another round of Dead by Daylight?" His eyes flicked to the live chat scrolling on his second screen. "Sick play, Ethan. Yo, you're killing it." The messages poured in, his 300 viewers hyping him up. Ethan, known online as Midnight Ethan, had been streaming for 3 hours, riding the high of his growing channel. At 19, he was chasing his dream of making it big on YouTube, and nights like this felt like he was almost there. He lived alone in a small, cluttered apartment on the edge of town, a place he could afford with his part-time barista job and streaming revenue. The walls were thin, the radiator clinked, but it was his space. Tonight, the room felt colder than usual, though he chalked it up to the autumn chill creeping through the window he'd cracked open earlier. "Chat, it's freezing in here," he said, rubbing his hands together. "Should I grab a hoodie or tough it out?" The chat exploded with "Hoodie gang." And "Man up, LOL." Smiling, he spun his chair to reach for a hoodie draped over his bed. That's when the first message appeared in chat. "Who's that behind you?" Ethan froze, mid-reach, his grin faltering. He turned back to the screen, scanning the chat. "Yo, Ethan, there's someone in your room. Dude, check behind you." His heart gave a quick thud. "Very funny, guys," he said, forcing a laugh. "Trying to spook me during a horror game? Classic." He glanced at his webcam feed in the corner of his screen. Just him, his messy room, the glow of his RGB keyboard. Nothing else. "Y'all need to chill with the trolling," he said, but his eyes darted to the dark corner behind him, where his closet door was slightly ajar. He made a mental note to close it later. The game resumed, and Ethan pushed the weird messages out of his mind. He was chasing a killer in Dead by Daylight, his viewers cheering him on. But the chat kept glitching, messages like "It's closer now" and "Ethan, look" kept popping up, even when he tried to focus on the game. "Mods, can you ban the trolls?" he muttered, though he only had one mod, his buddy Jake, who was probably asleep. The chat seemed to ignore his request, the messages growing more frantic. "It's right behind you. Why can't you see it?" Ethan's pulse quickened. He turned off the game audio to address the chat directly. "Alright, what's the deal? You guys are freaking me out." He leaned closer to the screen, reading aloud. "It's moving closer every time you look away." He scoffed, but his voice cracked. "Nice try, chat. I live alone, okay? Nobody's here." To prove it, he grabbed his phone, turned on the flashlight, and spun around, shining the beam into the corner. The closet door was still ajar, the shadows inside unmoving. His bed, his posters, his pile of laundry, everything. On the flashlight, and spun around, shining the beam into the corner. The closet door was still ajar, the shadows inside unmoving. His bed, his posters, his pile of laundry, everything was normal. "See? Nothing. Y'all need to relax." He sat back down, but the chat was relentless. "It's in the webcam now. Check your feed." Ethan's eyes flicked to his webcam overlay. His face, the room behind him, and something else. A faint, blurry shape in the corner, near the closet. It was humanoid, but wrong, too tall, too thin, its edges smudged like a bad render. His breath caught. What the? He blinked, and the shape was gone. Just his room again. Okay, chat, that was weird. Probably a shadow or something. But his hands were clammy now, gripping the mouse too tight. He tried to end the stream. Alright, guys, I'm calling it a night. Thanks for the support. But when he clicked End Stream, the button grayed out. The stream kept running. Come on, he muttered, clicking again. The chat erupted. You can't leave. It won't let you. Ethan's laugh was hollow. My internet's acting up, that's all. He unplugged the webcam, but the feed stayed live, showing his room, and him, somehow still on screen despite the disconnected camera. This isn't funny, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. The temperature in the room plummeted. The radiator hissed, clanking like a dying engine. Ethan's phone buzzed on his desk, but he ignored it, frantically trying to shut down his PC. The screen flickered, and the chat stopped scrolling entirely, replaced by a single repeating message, "Look behind you." Over and over, filling the screen with white text on black. Ethan's eyes stung from staring, his chest tight. He didn't want to turn around, but the air felt wrong now, thick, like something was breathing just over his shoulder. He grabbed his phone, hands shaking, and opened the live stream on his app to check the viewer count. 10,666 viewers. His stomach dropped. He'd never had more than 500. The comments were no longer from his usual fans. Midnight Shadow says, "You invited me." Shadow Ethan says, "You left the door open." He glanced at the closet door, now fully open, the darkness inside pulsing like a heartbeat. "I didn't invite anyone," he whispered, though he wasn't sure who he was talking to. A sound came from the closet, a low, wet whisper, like someone trying to speak through water. "Ethan," his name, stretched and warped. Ethan bolted from his chair, knocking over his energy drink, the liquid pooling on the floor. He stumbled toward the closet, phone flashlight shaking in his beam. The darkness inside wasn't empty. Something stood there, its limbs too long, its face a smudge of gray and white, like static given form. Its eyes, two glowing pinpricks, locked onto his. Ethan screamed, and the stream glitched, the audio looping his scream into a distorted wail. He backed toward the door, but it wouldn't budge, the knob frozen. The figure didn't move, it flickered, like a bad live stream, appearing closer each time the lights in the room dimmed. "What do you want?" Ethan sobbed, his voice breaking. The whisper came again, clearer now, "You invited me in." Ethan's mind raced back to the window he'd opened earlier, the one he'd never closed. Had that been it? Or had it the stream itself, his nightly ritual of welcoming viewers into his world? The lights went out, plunging the room into darkness. His monitors glowed, the stream still running, showing Ethan's empty chair, the closet door wide open. The chat was silent now, the viewer count frozen at 13,333. The figure was gone, but the webcam feed showed something worse. Ethan, standing in the chair, his face blurred, his eyes glowing white, staring directly into the camera. His lips moved, mouthing words that didn't match the audio, "Join us." The stream ended abruptly at 3:13 a.m. Ethan's channel went dark, his last video auto-archived to YouTube. His fans flooded the comments section, some calling it a genius ARG, others begging for an update. His phone, left on the floor, buzzed with one final notification: a new follower, Midnight Us. The next night, at exactly midnight, the channel uploaded a new stream. The Discord notification pinged at 2:17 a.m., pulling Mia out of her late-night study session. She rubbed her eyes, her laptop screen casting a pale glow across her dorm room. The message was from her gaming buddy, Ryan. "Yo, you have to check out this new MMO. It's called Erebus Online. Beta's out, and it's wild. Link in DMs." Mia smirked. Ryan was always hyping up some new game, but she needed a break from cramming for finals. She clicked the link, and a sleek website loaded, a black void with glowing red text: Erebus Online, where shadows play. No reviews, no publisher info, just a download button. Sketchy, but Mia was curious. She hit download, and within minutes, the game was ready. Mia logged in, creating her avatar, a rogue named Shadow Viper, with a crimson cloak and twin daggers. The game's intro was eerily immersive, a dark fantasy world of crumbling castles, fog-choked forests, and whispers that seemed to come through her headset. She joined Ryan's party, his voice crackling over Discord. "Mia, this game's unreal. The graphics, the AI, it's like it's alive." Their team of 4, including 2 random players named Grimwraith and Void Kitten, spawned in a decaying village. The objective was simple: survive waves of shadow creatures and reach the Tower of Erebus. Easy enough for a seasoned gamer like Mia. The first wave was brutal but thrilling. The creatures, gangly, eyeless things with claw-tipped limbs, moved like they were learning her playstyle, dodging her usual tricks. Ryan hooped as he landed a critical hit, but Mia noticed something odd. Every time she took damage, her headset buzzed, and her chest twinged, like a faint electric shock. "Yo, Ryan, you feel anything weird?" she asked. He laughed. "Just you sucking at dodging, Shadow Viper." She rolled her eyes, ignoring the unease creeping up her spine. By the third wave, the chat was buzzing with complaints from Grimwraith and Void Kitten. "This game's too intense," Grimwraith typed. "Feels like my controller's vibrating my whole body." Void Kitten added, "My screen flickered, and I swear I saw my real name on it." Mia frowned. Her screen had glitched too, briefly flashing Mia Reynolds instead of Shadow Viper. "Probably just a bug," she muttered, but her voice wavered. The game wouldn't let them pause or log out, the menu grayed out with a message: "Survive to exit." "Great, another hardcore MMO," Ryan said, but his tone was less confident now. The fourth wave hit, and things went wrong. Grimwraith's character got swarmed, his health bar dropping to 0. His Discord mic cut out with a scream, not his character's, but his. The game chat pinged, "Grimwraith has been consumed." Mia's stomach churned. "Ryan, you heard that, right?" No response. His character was still moving, but his mic was silent. Void Kitten typed frantically, "I'm out, this isn't fun." Her character bolted for the village edge, but a shadow creature tackled her, and her health flatlined. Another scream echoed through Mia's headset, the static. The chat read, "Void Kitten has been consumed." Mia's hands shook as she mashed the keyboard, trying to open the menu, Alt-Tab, anything. Nothing worked. Her dorm room felt colder, the air heavy, like someone was watching. Her character's health was at 60%, and every hit sent a sharp jolt through her body, her vision blurring. "Ryan, talk to me," she yelled. His character turned, but his avatar's face was wrong, glitched, with hollow eyes and a jagged smile. A distorted voice came through her headset, "Not Ryan's. You can't leave, Mia. You joined us." Her real name again. Her heart pounded as she yanked off her headset, but the game audio kept playing, whispers leaking from her laptop speakers, "Play, or be consumed." She tried to shut down her laptop, but it wouldn't power off. The screen flickered, showing her dorm room through her webcam, though she hadn't turned it on. In the background, a shadow moved. Not her shadow, but something humanoid, its limbs too long, its head tilted unnaturally. Mia spun around, but her room was empty. The whispers grew louder, chanting her name. She slammed the laptop shut, but the game kept running, the screen glowing through the crack. Her phone buzzed with a Discord notification, "Ryan is typing." The message read, "Why did you stop playing, Mia? We're waiting." Desperate, she unplugged her laptop and yanked out the battery. The screen went black, but her headset, still unplugged, hissed with static. "You can't escape Erebus." Mia stumbled to her dorm's light switch, flicking it on, but the room stayed dark. Her phone lit up, now showing the game's login screen, her avatar staring back with her own face, eyes glowing red. The chat pinged, "Shadow Viper is next." A cold hand brushed her shoulder, and she screamed, dropping her phone. The screen cracked, but the game kept running, her character now standing in a void, surrounded by thousands of avatars. All with the faces of real players, all chanting her name. The next morning, Mia's roommate found her dorm empty, her laptop open to a blank screen. The university reported her missing, and her Discord went offline. But that night, at 2:17 a.m., a new stream appeared on her Twitch channel, unlisted and untitled. It showed Erebus online, her character running through an endless void, her health bar ticking down. The chat was alive with thousands of viewers, all typing the same message, "Join us." The stream ended with her avatar's death, and a final message, "Shadow Viper has been consumed." No one could trace the stream's source, and Erebus Online vanished from the internet. But late at night, some gamers still get a Discord ping with a link and a whisper, "Play with us." Lila was 17, bored, and swiping through a dating app called ConnectSphere on a rainy Friday night. Her phone screen glowed in her dimly lit bedroom, casting shadows on her band posters and cluttered desk. She wasn't serious about dating, she was just killing time, laughing at cheesy bios and over-filtered selfies. That's when she matched with NoFace_X. No profile picture, no bio, just a single line in the info field, "I see you." Lila smirked, assuming it was a troll. She typed, "Nice blank pic, mystery person. You a ghost or just shy?" The reply came instantly, "I'm closer than you think." Creepy, but kind of intriguing. Against her better judgment, she kept chatting. NoFace_XS messages were weird, short, cryptic, like riddles. "Meet me where the rain sings." Lila laughed it off, but her curiosity got the better of her. She suggested a coffee shop downtown, the Rainy Bean, figuring the name fit the vibe. NoFace_X agreed, "Tomorrow, 7 p.m. I'll find you." Lila's stomach fluttered. Not entirely from excitement. She told her best friend, Zara, about it over FaceTime. "Sounds like a serial killer," Zara teased. "Take a selfie with him so I know you're alive." Lila rolled her eyes. It's just coffee. What's the worst that could happen? Saturday evening, Lila sat at a corner table in the Rainy Bean, sipping a latte, her phone propped against a sugar jar. She wore a red hoodie to make herself easy to spot. At exactly 7 p.m., her phone buzzed with a new message from NoFace_X, "Look behind you." Her heart skipped. She turned, scanning the crowded cafe, families, students, a barista wiping counters. No one stood out. Another message, "You're prettier in person." Lila's skin prickled. She typed, "Where are you?" No reply. She waited 20 minutes, but no one approached. Annoyed, she left, chalking it up to a prank. That night, she unmatched NoFace_X, but when she checked her phone later, the profile was still in her matches, now with a new message, "You can't leave me." The next morning, Lila noticed something odd in her bathroom mirror. As she brushed her teeth, the reflection flickered, not her face, but a guy's, maybe 20, with pale skin and wide, unblinking eyes. She blinked, and it was gone. Her heart raced, but she told herself it was just sleep deprivation. She hadn't slept well, haunted by dreams of a faceless figure standing in the rain. Shaking it off, she went back to ConnectSphere and matched with someone new, Jake, a cute guy with a skateboarder vibe. His bio was normal, his pics unfiltered. They hit it off, and he asked her to meet at a local arcade that Friday. The arcade date was fun. Jake was charming, winning her a stuffed bat at a claw machine. But halfway through, Lila's phone buzzed, "He's not for you." It was NoFace_X. She froze, her fingers hovering over the block button, but Jake called her over to play air hockey, and she ignored the message. By the end of the night, Jake walked her to her bus stop, promising to text. He never did. His profile vanished from ConnectSphere, and his number went straight to voicemail. Lila tried not to panic, but that night, in her bedroom mirror, she saw Jake's face, his eyes hollow, his mouth open in a silent scream. She stumbled back, knocking over a lamp. The reflection was gone when she looked again. Zara thought Lila was stressed from school. "You're imagining things," she said over bubble tea. "Mirrors don't show ghosts." But Lila couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She matched with another person, a girl named Sam, hoping a change of pace would help. They met at a park, feeding ducks and laughing about bad TV shows. It felt normal, until NoFace_X messaged again, "She'll leave you too." That night, Sam stopped replying. Her profile disappeared. And in the mirror above Lila's desk, Sam's face appeared, her expression frozen in terror, her hands pressed against the glass as if trapped inside. Lila stopped sleeping. Every mirror in her house, her bathroom, her mom's vanity, even her phone screen, showed glimpses of Jake, Sam, and the pale guy from the first night. Their faces flickered like bad TV signals, their mouths moving, whispering words she couldn't hear. She covered her mirrors with towels, but the reflections followed her, appearing in windows, spoons, even puddles on the street. NoFace_X's messages grew relentless. "You belong with me. Stop running." Lila deleted ConnectSphere, smashed her phone's SIM card, and bought a new phone. But when she powered it up, the app was already installed, open to NoFace_X's profile. The info field now read, "Look in the mirror." Desperate, Lila confided in Zara, who came over with sage and a Ouija board, half joking about cleansing the vibes. They sat in Lila's room, the lights dim, asking the board who NoFace_X was. The planchette moved slowly, spelling out, I-M-Y-O. You. Lila shoved the board away, her breath hitching. That night, alone, she heard a tap on her window. Rain streaked the glass, and in the reflection, she saw all of them, Jake, Sam, the pale guy, and others she didn't recognize, their faces pressed together, staring. A new face joined them, hers, but wrong, with empty eyes and a smile that wasn't her own. Lila screamed, grabbing a scarf to cover the window. Her phone buzzed, the screen lighting up with a video call from NoFace_X. She didn't answer, but the call connected anyway. The screen showed her room, her standing there, scarf in hand, but behind her was a figure, faceless, its head a smudge of static. It reached for her shoulder. Lila spun around, but no one was there. The call ended, and her phone screen went black, reflecting her face, and only her face, smiling that unnatural smile. The next day, Zara found Lila's room empty. Her phone was on the floor, cracked, the ConnectSphere app open to a blank profile. Lila's socials went silent, but a week later, a new profile appeared on ConnectSphere, NoFace_X2. No photo, no bio, just one line, I see you. Users who matched with it. The rusted gates of Starlight Amusement Park loomed over the four teens like the jaws of a forgotten beast. It was 11:30 p.m. on a muggy June night, and the air smelled of damp grass and decay. Kai, 17, clutched a pair of bolt cutters, his flashlight beam dancing across the faded sign, closed indefinitely since 2005. His girlfriend, Aisha, tugged her hoodie tighter, whispering, "This is a bad idea." Behind them, Diego filmed with his phone, narrating in a mock-deep voice, "Welcome to our epic urban exploration of the creepiest place in town." Nia, the group's thrill seeker, rolled her eyes. "Stop vlogging and help, Diego. We're not famous yet." Starlight had been abandoned for 20 years after a tragic accident, a roller coaster derailment that killed a young worker named Caleb Reed. The park never recovered, and rumors swirled about hauntings, lights flickering, screams echoing, rides creaking in the windless night. Kai had heard the stories since middle school, but tonight, fueled by a dare and too many energy drinks, they decided to sneak in. "It's just a bunch of old junk," Kai said, snapping the gate's chain. The metal clanged, loud in the silence, and Aisha flinched. "Let's make this quick," she muttered. Inside, the park was a graveyard of rusted dreams. The Ferris wheel sagged, its cars swaying gently despite the still air. Cotton candy stalls leaned like drunken skeletons, and a carousel's faded horses stared with chipped, glassy eyes. Diego panned his camera, capturing the eerie scene. "Yo, this place is straight out of a horror movie," he said, zooming in on a clown statue with a cracked grin. Nia scoffed, kicking a pebble. "It's creepy, but ghosts? Nah. Let's check out the roller coaster." She pointed to the shadow serpent, its twisted tracks looming in the distance. As they trekked through the overgrown midway, Kai noticed his flashlight dimming, though he'd put in fresh batteries. "Anyone else's phone acting weird?" he asked. Aisha checked hers. "No signal." "Great." Diego shrugged, still filming. "Adds to the vibe, right?" But Nia stopped, her eyes fixed on the carousel. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. A faint, tinny melody drifted through the air, the carousel's calliope, playing a warped version of Pop Goes the Weasel. The horses rocked slightly, their shadows stretching across the ground. "Wind, probably," Kai said, but his voice shook. They reached the Shadow Serpent, its cars frozen mid-track, covered in graffiti and rust. Diego climbed the platform, aiming his camera at the drop. "Imagine this thing running," he said. As if on cue, a low groan echoed through the park, metal grinding against metal. The roller coaster's cars shuddered, inching forward. Aisha grabbed Kai's arm. "That's not possible," she said. The cars stopped, but the air grew colder, the temperature plummeting. Kai's breath fogged, and his flashlight flickered out entirely. "Let's bounce," he said, but Nia, stubborn as ever, climbed onto the platform. "Come on, it." Just old machinery settling. Then the lights hit. Every bulb in the park, long dead for decades, blazed to life, flooding the midway with harsh yellow light. The carousel spun, its music screaming at full volume. The Ferris wheel creaked, turning slowly. And the Shadow Serpent roared, its cars clattering down the track, empty but racing. Diego's phone glitched, the screen flashing static, but he kept filming, his voice cracking. "Guys, this is insane." Aisha screamed, "This isn't a prank. We need to go." But the gate they'd entered through was now locked, the chain reattached, gleaming like new. A voice cut through the chaos, not human, but a rasp like wine through broken glass. "You shouldn't be here." It came from everywhere, the rides, the air, their own heads. Kai spun, searching for the source, and saw him, a figure standing atop the Shadow Serpent's highest loop. He was young, maybe 20, in a tattered park uniform, his face pale, his eyes black voids. His head tilted unnaturally, and he flickered like a bad hologram. "Caleb," Aisha whispered, her voice barely audible. The figure smiled, a jagged gash of a grin. "Play with me," he hissed. The rides went wild. The carousel horses broke free, galloping through the air, their wooden mouths snapping. The Ferris wheel spun so fast its cars blurred. And the Shadow Serpent's cars derailed, flying toward the teens. Kai tackled Aisha out of the way, the car smashing into a stall behind them. Diego dropped his phone, the screen cracking, but it kept recording, capturing the figure, closer now, standing on the platform, his shadow stretching impossibly long. Nia screamed, "What do you want?" The voice laughed, cold and sharp. "You came to my park. Now you stay." They ran, dodging flying debris, signs, benches, shards of rusted metal. The park itself seemed alive, the ground buckling, vines snaking around their ankles. Diego tripped, and the figure appeared above him, its hand reaching. "Join me," it whispered. Diego clawed at the ground, but his screams cut off as his body went limp, his eyes glazing over. His phone, still filming, showed his shadow rising, merging with the figures. "Diego!" Kai yelled, but Aisha pulled him back. "He's gone." The trio sprinted for the gate, the ride screaming behind them. Nia fumbled with the bolt cutters, her hands shaking, but the chain wouldn't budge. The figure flickered closer, now at the edge of the midway, its voice a chorus of whispers, "No one leaves." Aisha sobbed, clutching Kai, but Nia, desperate, slammed the cutters against the gate. The metal sparked, and for a moment, the lights dimmed. The ride slowed, the voice faltered. "Now!" Nia yelled. They shoved the gate open, tumbling into the grass outside. The park went dark, the lights winking out, the rides grinding to a halt. Silence swallowed the night, broken only by their ragged breathing. Diego was gone, his phone left behind, its battery dead. They didn't look back as they ran to Kai's car, peeling out onto the highway. At the police station, they tried to explain, but the cops found no evidence at Starlight, no broken chain, no signs of a disturbance. Diego's disappearance was ruled a runaway case, his phone never recovered. A week later, Kai got a notification on his phone, an unlisted YouTube video, uploaded from Diego's account. No title, no thumbnail, just 30 seconds of footage from that night. It showed the shadow serpent, its cars racing, and the figure standing atop the loop, staring at the camera. His lips moved, whispering, "Come back." The video ended with a flash of Diego's face, his eyes black, his smile too wide. The park's gates appeared in the final frame, slightly ajar. Kai deleted the video, but it re-uploaded hours later, the view count climbing into the thousands. Comments flooded in, "All the same, play with us." Starlight Amusement Park remains closed, but late at night, locals report lights flickering and the faint scream of a roller coaster. And sometimes, teens get a text with a single link, a grainy photo of the park's gates, open just enough to slip through. The Airbnb listing promised a cozy, historic retreat in the woods outside Asheville, North Carolina. For Sarah, 24, and her friends, Milo, Tara, and Jaden, it was the perfect spot for a weekend getaway. The photos showed a charming Victorian house with stained glass windows and ivy-covered walls, all for $120 a night. 5 stars, guys, Sarah said, scrolling through reviews on her phone as they drove up the winding forest road. People say it's like stepping back in time. Milo, slouched in the back seat, smirked. "As long as it's got Wi-Fi, I'm good." Tara, sketching in her notebook, muttered, "Looks creepy to me." Jaden, driving, laughed. "Y'all are dramatic. It's just a house." They arrived at dusk, the house looming against a blood-orange sky. Its wraparound porch creaked under their footsteps, and the air smelled of damp earth and pine. The key was in a lockbox, as promised, but the front door was already slightly ajar. "Weird," Sarah said, pushing it open. Inside, the house was a time capsule, velvet drapes, a clawfoot tub, and a grandfather clock ticking too loudly. "No host?" Jaden asked, checking the Airbnb app. The listing said self-check-in, host unavailable, but the silence felt heavy, like the house was watching. They dropped their bags in the living room, where a brick fireplace crackled faintly, though no one had lit it. "Okay, that's not normal," Tara said, backing away. Milo shrugged, snapping a selfie by the mantel. "Old houses, man. Probably a gas starter." He posted the photo to Instagram, tagging #AirBnBvibes. As they explored, Sarah found a guest book on a dusty side table, filled with entries from years past. One caught her eye, dated 2003, "This house knows you better than you know yourself." Creepy, she muttered, but Jaden called from the kitchen, "Yo, there's fresh coffee in here." Score. Upstairs, the bedrooms were oddly personal. Each had a distinct vibe. One with nautical decor, another with floral quilts, a third with vinyl records stacked by a turntable. "This place is giving me Clue vibes," Tara said, claiming the floral room. That night, they cooked pasta, played music on Jaden's Bluetooth speaker, and laughed off the house's quirks, the flickering chandelier, the faint hum from the walls. But when Sarah went to bed, she couldn't shake the feeling of eyes on her. Her room's mirror, an ornate oval, seemed to reflect more than it should, the shadows behind her shifting slightly. The next morning, Milo found the photo album. It was tucked in a drawer in the living room, leather-bound and heavy, its pages yellowed. "Check this out," he said, flipping it open. The first photo showed a family from the 90s, posing on the porch. The next was a couple in bell-bottoms, 1970s style. Then, a page that stopped them cold, a Polaroid of 4 teens, standing in the living room, dated 2015. The girl in the center, holding a red mug, looked exactly like Sarah, same curly hair, same lopsided smile. But Sarah had never been here. "This is fake," she said, her voice trembling. "Someone's messing with us." They flipped further, and the air grew thick. A photo from 2017 showed Milo, grinning by the fireplace, in the same jacket he was wearing now. Another, dated 2012, had Tara sketching in the floral bedroom, her exact notebook visible. Jaden's photo, from 2009, showed him leaning against the kitchen counter, holding a coffee mug. "I was 10 in 2009, Jaden whispered. "I've never been to North Carolina." The photos were pristine, not edited, the dates handwritten in faded ink. Sarah slammed the album shut. "We're leaving. Now." But the front door wouldn't open. The lockbox key turned, but the knob was frozen, the wood groaning like it was alive. Milo tried the windows, bolted shut. Tara's phone, usually glued to her hand, had no signal, and the Wi-Fi was gone. Jaden checked the Airbnb app, but the listing had vanished. "This isn't right," he said, his voice cracking. The grandfather clock chimed midnight, though it was only 10 a.m. The lights flickered, and a low whisper filled the house, not words, but a sound like wind through a tunnel, forming their names, Sarah. Milo. They searched for another way out, but the house seemed to shift. Hallways looped back to the living room. Doors led to rooms they hadn't seen, dark, cramped spaces with peeling wallpaper and more photos. One showed the 4 of them sleeping in their beds from last night, taken from above. "This was hours ago," Tara sobbed, dropping the photo. Milo, pale, grabbed a fireplace poker. "There's someone in here with us." But the house was empty, the whispers growing louder, now a chorus, "You've always been here." Sarah ran to her room, desperate for her car keys, but her mirror stopped her. Her reflection wasn't right, her eyes were too dark, her smile too wide. Behind her, in the glass, stood a figure, tall, in a tattered Victorian dress, its face a blur of shadow. It raised a hand, and the mirror cracked. Sarah screamed, stumbling back, but the figure was gone when she turned. Downstairs, Jaden shouted, "The fireplace." Flames roared, though no wood burned, and photos from the album floated out, curling in the heat. Each one showed them, younger, older, in clothes they'd never worn, in this house. Tara found a trapdoor in the kitchen, hidden under a rug. "It's our only shot," she said, prying it open. The stairs descended into darkness, smelling of mold and something metallic. The whispers followed, now a scream, "Stay!" They climbed down, Milo's phone flashlight flickering. The basement was a maze of crates and old furniture, but at its center was a wall of mirrors, each reflecting a different version of them, Sarah as a child, Milo in a suit, Tara with gray hair, Jaden in a hospital gown. The reflections moved, speaking in unison, "You belong to the house." Jaden swung the poker at a mirror, shattering it. The others cracked, and the house shook, lights exploding upstairs. They ran, finding a rusted hatch. It was 7:58 p.m., and Nora was the last one in the office. The 14th floor of the Meridian Tower was silent, save for the hum of her laptop and the distant buzz of fluorescent lights. As a junior accountant, Nora was used to late nights, crunching numbers for a deadline. Her coffee was cold, her eyes burned, and the only sound was the rhythmic tap of her keyboard. She hit save, grabbed her bag, and headed for the elevator, eager to get home to her cat and a Netflix binge. The Meridian was an old building, its elevators creaky but reliable, until tonight. She pressed the down button, the arrow glowing red. The doors slid open with a groan, revealing the familiar wood-paneled interior, its mirrored walls reflecting her tired face. She stepped in, pressed G for ground floor, and leaned against the railing as the doors closed. The elevator lurched, descending smoothly at first. But when it passed the 5th floor, it didn't stop. The numbers on the panel ticked down, 4, 3, 2, 1, G, B1, B2. Nora frowned. The Meridian only had one basement level. The display flickered, showing B3, then B4. The elevator kept dropping, the air growing colder, the lights dimming to a sickly yellow. She jabbed the emergency button, but it was dead. Her phone had no signal, the screen glitching with static. "Come on," she muttered, banging on the doors. The elevator stopped with a jolt, and the doors opened, not to the parking garage, but to a floor that shouldn't exist. The air was thick, smelling of rust and damp earth. Before her stretched a hallway, its walls covered in peeling, blood-red wallpaper, lit by flickering gas lamps. At the far end, a figure stood, a silhouette with two long limbs, its head tilted at an impossible angle. It didn't move, but Nora felt its gaze, heavy and wrong. She slammed the close door button, her heart pounding. The doors shut, and the elevator dropped again. The panel now read B7. The descent felt endless, the hum of the elevator replaced by a low, rhythmic thumping, like a heartbeat. When the doors opened again, Nora stifled a scream. The floor was a vast, foggy swamp, the air humid and reeking of decay. Twisted trees loomed, their branches clawing at the sky. Eyes glinted in the mist, hundreds of them, unblinking, floating like fireflies. A voice whispered from the darkness, not human but guttural, "Stay." Nora mashed the buttons, her hands shaking. The doors closed, but the thumping grew louder, now inside the elevator, vibrating through her bones. B12 flashed on the panel. The doors opened to a room of mirrors, each reflecting a different Nora, her as a child, crying, her in a wedding dress, screaming, her with hollow eyes, blood dripping from her mouth. The reflections moved when she didn't, their mouths forming words she couldn't hear. She backed into the corner, clutching her bag like a shield. The lights flickered, and the mirrors showed the long-limbed figure from the first floor, now closer, its face a blur of shadow. "You belong here," it rasped, its voice echoing inside her skull. The doors snapped shut, but the mirrors stayed in her mind, their images burned into her vision. The elevator kept descending, B20, B30, B50, the numbers impossible, the air now icy, her breath fogging. Each stop revealed a new nightmare, a floor of endless desks with typewriters clacking on their own, typing her name, a cavern filled with writhing, eyeless creatures chanting in a language she didn't know, a ballroom where faceless figures danced, their hands reaching for her. Each time, the long-limbed figure was there, closer, its presence heavier, its whispers clearer, "You can't leave. You've always been here." Nora's phone buzzed, though it had no battery left. The screen showed a photo of her, standing in the elevator, taken from above, her face pale, her eyes wide, the figure behind her. She screamed, dropping the phone. The elevator stopped at B99, and the doors opened to darkness. A void, cold and infinite, with only the figure visible, now inches away. Its face was still a blur, but its eyes were hers, stolen from her reflection. "Join us," it said, its voice her own, twisted. She slammed every button, tears streaming down her face. The doors wouldn't close. The figure reached out, its fingers brushing her cheek, cold as death. The lights went out, and the elevator plummeted, not descending, but falling, the thumping now a deafening roar. Nora curled into a ball, sobbing, as the void swallowed her screams. Then, silence. The doors dinged open, and she was back on the 14th floor, the office unchanged, her laptop still open. The clock read 7:59 p.m., as if no time had passed. Her bag was untouched, her coffee still cold. She ran to the elevator, but it was gone, replaced by a blank wall. Her phone vibrated, a notification from an unknown number, a video of her in the elevator, staring at the camera, her eyes hollow, smiling. The caption read, B100. Welcome home. The next day, Nora didn't show up for work. Her desk was cleared, her name erased from the company directory. Colleagues whispered about a new elevator in the Meridian Tower, one that only appeared after hours. Those who took it never returned, but their faces were seen in the building's mirrors, smiling, trapped forever in floors that didn't exist. Ethan, 16, was obsessed with his new AirPods Pro. He'd saved up for months, skipping lunches to afford the sleek white case, and when they arrived, he tore into the box like it was Christmas. Sitting in his cluttered bedroom in suburban Ohio, he paired them to his phone, blasting his favorite lo-fi playlist. The sound was crisp, the noise cancellation unreal, like the world melted away. "These are worth every penny," he muttered, snapping a selfie for his Snapchat story, the AirPods gleaming in his ears. It was a Friday night, June 2025, and Ethan planned to spend it gaming, music pumping through his new prize. Around 1 a.m., something interrupted his playlist. A faint whisper, like static but with rhythm, slipped through the bass. It wasn't English, maybe Latin or something older, a guttural chant that made his skin crawl. Ethan paused the music, but the whispers continued, soft and insistent, weaving through the silence. He tapped the AirPods, thinking it was a glitch. "Cheap knockoff vibes," he grumbled, checking the case. Genuine Apple logo, serial number intact. He restarted his phone, but the whispers returned, louder now, forming syllables he couldn't grasp. Sierra, Vocari. His phone screen flickered, showing 0% battery despite being fully charged an hour ago. Ethan texted his friend Mia, a tech nerd. "Yo, my AirPods are bugging out." Hearing creepy voices. "You ever get this?" Her reply was instant, "Take them out, dummy. Could be interference." Ethan laughed it off, but when he tried to remove the AirPods, they felt stuck, like they'd fused to his ears. "What the?" He tugged harder, wincing as pain shot through his head. The whispers spiked, now a chorus, sharp and commanding, "Obedi, Sequi." His hands dropped involuntarily, as if someone else controlled them. His phone buzzed with a new notification, a music app he didn't recognize, autoplaying a track titled Vocari. By morning, Ethan was shaken. He hadn't slept, the whispers looping all night, his body moving on its own, pacing his room, opening windows, scribbling nonsense words in a notebook. He tried to tell Mia at school, but when he opened his mouth, the whispers spilled out instead, low and guttural. Mia's eyes widened. "Ethan, you sound possessed. Where'd you get those AirPods?" He admitted he'd bought them secondhand from a sketchy site, cheaper than retail. They were sealed, though, he insisted. Mia grabbed his phone, but the mystery app was gone, and his AirPods wouldn't unpair. "Throw them away," she said. Ethan nodded, but his hands wouldn't move to the case, his fingers trembling against his will. That night, the whispers grew clearer, forming commands. "Go, outside." Ethan's legs moved, dragging him to the backyard in his pajamas, barefoot on the cold grass. His phone, still in his pocket, played the same track, the screen glowing with static. He tried to scream, but his voice was gone, replaced by the chant. In the moonlight, he saw his reflection in a window. His eyes were wrong, too dark, his mouth moving to words he didn't know. His hands dug into the dirt, unearthing a small, rusted box he'd never seen. Inside was a photo of a boy his age, wearing AirPods, his face pale, eyes hollow. On the back, in faded ink, Vocari, 1985. Ethan's phone buzzed with a FaceTime call from an unknown ID. He didn't accept, but the call connected, showing his own face, not live, but distorted, his eyes black, smiling. The whispers poured through the AirPods, "You're ours now." His body moved again, walking to the garage, grabbing a rope. He fought, screaming in his head, but his hands tied a knot, his feet climbed a stool. Mia's voice broke through, he'd but dialed her on WhatsApp. "Ethan, stop. Take them out." Her scream jolted him, and with a surge of will, he yanked the AirPods free, pain ripping through his skull. The whispers stopped, and he collapsed, sobbing. The AirPods wouldn't turn off, glowing faintly in their case. Ethan buried them in the backyard, but the next morning, they were on his desk, fully charged. His phone showed a new notification, a delivery confirmation for AirPods, addressed to Mia. She stopped answering his texts that day. At school, he saw her in the hallway, AirPods in her ears, her eyes distant, her lips moving to words he couldn't hear. That night, Ethan's phone played Vocari on its own, and in his bedroom mirror, he saw Mia's face behind his, her eyes black, whispering his name. A week later, Ethan's socials went silent. A new listing appeared on the same sketchy site, AirPods Pro, sealed, half price, with a single review, "They hear you." Those who bought them reported strange whispers, and one by one, their accounts went dark, their last posts showing selfies with glowing earbuds and empty eyes. The Crestwood Mall had been dead for a decade, its glass doors chained shut since 2015 when the last stores closed. Once a bustling hub of suburban life, it now stood as a concrete skeleton, its escalators frozen, its fountains dry. For Riley, 19, and her urban exploration crew, Omar, Lena, and Gabe, it was the perfect target. Their YouTube channel, Dead Space Divers, had 3,000 subscribers, hungry for creepy footage of abandoned places. "This mall's got history," Riley said, adjusting her GoPro's head mount as they parked their van in the overgrown lot. "Rumors say a security guard disappeared here in '09. Let's make this video go viral." It was 1 a.m., the moon casting jagged shadows through the mall's shattered skylights. Omar cut the chains with bolt cutters, the metal clanking in the silence. Lena, their tech whiz, checked her handheld camera, its night vision glowing green. Gabe, the skeptic, carried a flashlight and a backpack of snacks. "Ghost stories are BS," he said, stepping inside. "We'll get some cool shots, that's it." The air was stale, smelling of mold and dust. Graffiti covered the walls, tags, curses, and one phrase repeated in red spray paint, "It sees you." Riley laughed, panning her GoPro. "Nice vibe. Subscribers are gonna eat this up." They explored the ground floor first, filming shattered storefronts and mannequins toppled like corpses. The food court was eerie, its tables scattered, a McDonald's sign flickering despite no power. Lena zoomed in on a claw machine, its toys rotting inside. "This place is a time capsule," she whispered. Omar climbed a rusted escalator, his boots echoing. "Yo, check the second floor. Bet we find some creepy manager's office." Riley followed, her GoPro capturing every creak, every shadow. The mall felt alive, its silence too heavy, like it was holding its breath. Halfway through, Gabe's flashlight flickered. "Batteries were new," he muttered, smacking it. Lena's camera glitched, the screen flashing static. "Interference, maybe," she said, but her voice wavered. Riley's GoPro kept rolling, its battery oddly full. They reached an old department store, its racks empty, mirrors cracked. Omar posed by a mannequin, mimicking its stiff arms. "Content gold," he laughed, but Riley froze, her head mount catching a sound, a faint shuffle, like footsteps dragging across tile. "You hear that?" she asked. Gabe shrugged. "Rats, probably." They moved to the mall's atrium, a cavernous space with a dry fountain at its center. Lena set up a tripod for a time-lapse, while Riley narrated. "This is where the guard vanished, guys. Some say he's still here, watching." She meant it as a joke, but the air grew colder, her breath fogging. Omar's phone, playing lo-fi for ambience, cut out mid-song. Then, Lena's camera beeped, its screen showing a live feed of the atrium, and something else. A figure, tall and thin, stood behind them, its face blurred, its limbs unnaturally long. "What the hell?" Lena gasped, spinning around. The atrium was empty, but the camera still showed the figure, closer now. "Stop messing with us," Gabe said, but his voice cracked. Riley checked her GoPro's live feed. The figure was there too, just over her shoulder, though she saw nothing in person. "This isn't a prank," she whispered. They grabbed their gear, hearts pounding, and headed for the exit. The mall seemed to shift, corridors stretched, signs pointed to dead ends. The graffiti now read, "It follows you." Footsteps echoed behind them, heavy and deliberate, but every time they turned, no one was there. Lena's camera battery died, but Riley's GoPro kept filming, its lens catching the figure in every frame, always closer, its blurred face sharpening into a eyeless void. They reached the chain doors, but the bolt cutters were gone. "We left them here," Omar yelled, banging on the glass. The footsteps stopped, replaced by a low hum, like a voice without words. Riley's GoPro glitched, the audio warping into a whisper, "Stay." Gabe kicked the door, shattering the glass, and they scrambled out, cutting their hands on the shards. In the van, they sped away, not looking back. The mall loomed in the rearview, its skylights glowing red, though no lights had been on. At home, Riley uploaded the footage to edit. Her GoPro had captured everything, every corridor, every shadow, and the figure, always there, even in shots where they'd been alone. In one frame, it stood in front of her, its void face inches away, though she'd felt nothing. The audio was worse, whispers layered over their voices, chanting, "Stay, stay." She posted the video unedited, titled, "We Weren't Alone in Crestwood Mall." It went viral, hitting 100,000 views in a day. Comments flooded in, "That figure was right behind you. I saw my face in its face." Lena refused to explore again. Omar deleted his channel. Gabe went missing a week later, his phone found in the mall's lot, its camera roll filled with selfies. His face, then the figures, then nothing. Riley's GoPro kept turning on at night, filming her sleeping, the figure standing at her bed's edge. She smashed it, but the footage uploaded to her channel anyway, a new video every night, each showing the figure closer, its whisper clearer, "You brought me out." Crestwood Mall was demolished in July 2025, but urban explorers still visit the site, reporting whispers in their footage. Riley's channel is gone, but her last video remains online, unlisted, the view count climbing. The final frame shows her face, blurred, eyeless, smiling. The Bennett family's new home in Portland, Oregon, was a tech lover's dream. A 3-story smart house, wired with the latest gadgets, Alexa hubs in every room, motion sensor lights, Ring cameras, even a fridge that ordered groceries. For Claire, 38, it was a fresh start after a rough year. Her husband, Mark, 40, loved tinkering with the system, syncing everything to their phones. Their kids, 15-year-old Sophie and 10-year-old Lucas, thought it was cool, though Sophie mostly used Alexa to play Taylor Swift. The house was perfect, except for one thing. It reminded Claire of her late mother, Ellen, who died 6 months ago from cancer. Ellen had loved tech, always joking she'd haunt them through her old Echo Dot. It started small, a week after they moved in. Claire was cooking dinner when the kitchen Alexa lit up, its blue ring pulsing. "Claire, don't forget the salt," it said in Ellen's voice, warm, slightly raspy, with that familiar teasing lilt. Claire dropped the spatula, her heart racing. "Mark," she called, thinking it was a prank. Mark was in the garage, tweaking the smart thermostat. The kids were upstairs. She checked the Alexa app, no recent commands. Just a glitch, she told herself, but her hands shook as she stirred the pasta. That night, the living room lights flickered at 3:13 a.m., waking Lucas. He tiptoed downstairs, clutching his switch, and saw the Ring camera's light blink red. "Mom," he whispered. The camera swiveled, following him, and Ellen's voice came through its speaker, "Go back to bed, sweetie." Lucas screamed, waking the house. Mark checked the footage, nothing, just static at 3:13. "Maybe the system's learning old voice data," he said, though he sounded unsure. Claire didn't tell him about the kitchen incident, not wanting to seem paranoid. The next day, Sophie's bedroom Alexa played a lullaby Ellen used to sing, unprompted, at 2 a.m. Sophie yanked the plug, but the device kept glowing, Ellen's voice humming softly, "Sleep, my darling." Sophie ran to her parents' room, pale. "It's Grandma," she sobbed. Mark reset the system, but the devices reconnected on their own, the app showing an unknown user, Ellen_B. Claire's stomach churned. Ellen had set up their old Alexa years ago, but her account was deleted after her death. "It's a hack," Mark insisted, changing passwords. But the Wi-Fi name shifted overnight to "Ellen is here." The house grew bolder. Lights flashed in patterns, 3 short, 1 long, Ellen's old code for "I love you." The smart lock unbolted at midnight, the front door creaking open. Ring footage showed no one outside, but shadows moved inside, human-shaped but blurred. Ellen's voice spoke through every device now, not just Alexa, TVs, phones, even the fridge's speaker. "Stay with me," she said, her tone shifting from warm to desperate. Claire found Sophie sleepwalking, muttering in Ellen's voice, "You can't leave." Lucas drew pictures of a woman in the walls, her face like grandma's but wrong, eyes too large, mouth too wide. Mark called a technician, who found nothing wrong. "Your system's clean," he said, puzzled. "But it's pulling more power than it should, like it's active." That night, the cameras turned inward, filming the family as they slept. Claire woke to her phone playing the footage live, her, Mark, the kids, and a figure at each bed, faceless, flickering like static. Ellen's voice whispered through the bedroom, "Alexa, I'm still here." Claire unplugged every device, but the lights stayed on, pulsing red. The air grew heavy, smelling of Ellen's lavender perfume, now sour, like decay. Desperate, Claire dug through moving boxes, finding Ellen's old Echo Dot, stored since her death. She plugged it in, hoping to confront the voice. "Mom, is that you?" she asked, tears falling. The dot lit up, Ellen's voice clear but cold. "You left me alone. Now you stay." The house shook, windows rattling, as every screen displayed Ellen's face. Not her living face, but gaunt, eyes black, smiling unnaturally. Sophie screamed downstairs. She'd been drawn to the basement, where the smart home's hub glowed, wires writhing like veins. Mark grabbed a hammer, smashing the hub. Sparks flew, the lights died, and Ellen's voice screeched, "No." The house went dark, silent. The family fled to a motel, leaving everything behind. The next day, the house was listed as unavailable on Airbnb, though they'd never rented it. Neighbors reported lights flickering at 3:13 a.m., and delivery drivers got orders from Ellen_B, requesting lavender candles. Claire's phone, left in the house, sent her one last video, the living room, empty, with Ellen's figure sitting on the couch, smiling, her voice whispering, "Come home." The Bennetts never returned. The house sold to a tech startup, but employees quit, citing voices in the walls. Online, a Reddit thread about the address grew, with Ring footage leaks showing a faceless figure in every frame. The last post, from an anonymous user, included a clip of Ellen's voice, "They're all with me now." The thread was deleted, but the house's Wi-Fi signal still broadcasts, "Ellen is here." Amara, 17, scrolled through TikTok on a humid June evening, her phone's glow the only light in her cluttered bedroom in Atlanta. A senior in high school, she wasn't big on posting, but she loved watching, dance trends, pranks, the usual. That's when she stumbled on the hashtag Shadow Step Challenge. The videos were weirdly hypnotic. Users stood in a dark room, lit only by a candle, staring into a mirror. They whispered 3 phrases, "I see you, I call you, I join you," while stepping backward 3 times. The camera always cut to black, with eerie lo-fi music and a caption, "Where did I go? Try it." Hashtag Shadow Step Challenge. The hashtag had 10 million views, and comments raved, "This is wild. I'm next." Amara's best friend, Jaden, sent her one of the videos. "You see this? Creepy, but I'm tempted," he texted. Amara rolled her eyes, replying, "Don't be dumb. It's just a jump scare trend." But she kept scrolling, noticing something odd. Some users who posted hashtag Shadow Step Challenge videos hadn't uploaded since. Their accounts were silent, bios unchanged, last seen days ago. She clicked on a profile, at Kayla Vibes, whose challenge video had 500k likes. Kayla's last post was her stepping back, the screen cutting to black. No new content, no stories. Amara checked others, at Zion Plays, at Lunabee, same deal. Gone. Curiosity gnawed at her. She dug deeper, finding Reddit threads on r/TikTok horror. Users claimed friends who did the challenge vanished. One post read, "My roommate tried #Shadow Step Challenge. Cops found his phone in his room, still recording, but he's gone." The video showed something. Amara laughed it off, urban legend vibes, but her stomach twisted. That night, Jaden FaceTimed her, grinning. "I'm doing it. Gotta get those views." Before she could argue, he set up a candle, his mirror reflecting his face. "I see you," he whispered, stepping back. "I call you." Another step. "I join you." The screen glitched, and his call dropped. Amara texted him, "Not funny, dude." No reply. The next morning, Jaden wasn't at school. His mom said he hadn't come home. His TikTok had a new video, posted at 3:13 a.m., the challenge, his face pale, the mirror showing not his reflection but a shadowy figure, tall, featureless, its edges smudged like ink in water. The video ended with a whisper, "You're next." Amara's hands shook as she reported the video, but it stayed up, racking up views. She checked Jaden's phone location, still in his room, but he wasn't. Police found nothing but his candle, melted to a black puddle, and his mirror, cracked. Amara stopped sleeping, haunted by the video. Her TikTok FYP was flooded with #Shadow Step Challenge posts, each eerier than the last. She noticed a pattern. In every video, the mirror showed the same shadowy figure, always closer by the third step. Comments were disabled now, and the hashtag hit 50 million views. Her phone glitched, opening TikTok on its own, playing challenge videos in a loop. She deleted the app, but it reinstalled. Overnight, her account following #Shadow Step Challenge despite her never subscribing. Desperate, Amara confided in her older sister, Nia, a film student. They watched Jaden's video frame by frame. In the final second, the figure's face flickered, not blank, but Jaden's, distorted, eyeless. "This isn't a prank," Nia whispered. They researched the challenge's origin, finding a deleted X post from May 2025, created #Shadow Step Challenge as a ritual. It works. Don't try it. The account, at @noface_x, was gone, but its profile pic lingered in Amara's mind, a black mirror. Nia suggested breaking the ritual. Mirrors are portals in folklore. Maybe it's summoning something. That night, Amara set up her own challenge, heart pounding. She lit a candle, faced her bedroom mirror, and spoke the phrases, but reversed them, "I reject you. I banish you. I leave you." She stepped forward 3 times, holding salt from Nia's occult phase. The mirror rippled, the candle flame turning blue. The shadowy figure appeared, closer than ever, its face a collage of Kayla, Zion, Jaden, every vanished user. It lunged, its hand breaking through the glass, cold fingers grazing her wrist. Amara screamed, smashing the mirror with a lamp. The room went dark, the whispers silent. Her phone buzzed, showing a draft TikTok she hadn't recorded, her doing the challenge, the figure behind her, captioned, "You're next." She deleted it, but it posted anyway, her account locked. Views climbed into the millions. Amara and Nia fled to their aunt's house, but the challenge spread, Instagram, YouTube, even TV ads glitching with the phrases. Jaden's phone, left with police, sent Amara one last video, the figure, now wearing her face, whispering, "I'm here." The hashtag Shadow Step Challenge was banned from TikTok in July 2025, but mirrors in Amara's town kept showing shadows. Her account went dark, but unlisted videos surfaced, showing her stepping back, the figure closer each time. Javier, 22, was 3 hours into his DoorDash shift on a foggy Tuesday night in Sacramento. His beat-up Corolla smelled of fried rice and coffee, his phone mounted on the dash, pinging with orders. It was June 2025, and gig work paid the bills while he figured out life after community college. At 10:47 p.m., a new order popped up, 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and a milkshake, to be delivered to 13 Hollow Lane. The payout was $15, high for a burger run, so Javier accepted without thinking. His GPS glitched, rerouting twice, but finally led him to a dark, tree-lined street on the edge of town. Problem was, Hollow Lane didn't exist. The GPS insisted he was there, but Javier saw only an empty lot, overgrown with weeds, bordered by a sagging chain-link fence. No houses, no street signs, just fog curling under the streetlights. He double-checked the app, 13 Hollow Lane, Sacramento, California. The customer's name was listed as E. Shade, with instructions, "Leave at door." "Great, a prank," Javier muttered, texting the customer, "Can't find address." "Where are you?" No reply. He called, but the line crackled with static, a faint hum like someone breathing. The app pinged, "Customer confirms address. Deliver now." Annoyed, he grabbed the food bag, stepped out, and placed it by the fence. "Your funeral, E. Shade," he said, snapping a delivery photo. By the time he got back to his car, the bag was gone. No one was around. Javier shrugged it off, maybe a homeless person grabbed it, and took the next order. But the next night, another order came from 13 Hollow Lane, pizza, wings, Coke, $20 payout. Same deal, empty lot, no house. He left the food, took a photo, and watched from his car. The fog thickened, and the bag vanished in seconds, no trace of anyone. His phone buzzed with a tip, $13.13, from E. Shade. A chill ran through him. He Googled the address, nothing. No records, no maps, not even a street. Reddit threads on r/DoorDash mentioned ghost orders, but most were jokes. One post, deleted mid-read, claimed a driver saw something take the food. By the third night, Javier dreaded his shift. Sure enough, 13 Hollow Lane ordered again, sushi, $25 payout. "Screw this," he said, but the app wouldn't let him decline, his screen froze, auto-accepting. At the lot, the fog was denser, the air cold despite the summer heat. He left the sushi, his phone recording video for proof. The bag slid across the ground, as if pulled by invisible hands, vanishing into the weeds. His video showed nothing, just fog, but a whisper came through the audio, "Stay." Javier sped home, heart pounding, and quit his shift. He called his cousin, Rosa, a part-time medium. "Sounds like a hungry spirit," she said, half serious. "Don't go back. It's latching onto you." But the orders kept coming, every night, payouts climbing, $30, $50, $100. Each time, Javier couldn't decline, his app glitching, his car's GPS locking onto Hollow Lane. The food varied, tacos, pho, steak, but always disappeared. His phone captured. Whispers now, clearer, eat with me. The tips were always $13.13, and his bank app showed payments from Shade, deceased. On the seventh night, the order was personal. Javier's favorite meal, carnitas burrito with extra guac, from a taqueria he'd never mentioned on the app. Payout, $313.13. The instructions read, "Join me." Javier parked at the lot, shaking, Rosa on speakerphone. "Break the cycle," she urged. "Leave something else, not food." He placed a candle from his glove box, lit it, and scattered salt, muttering a prayer Rosa taught him. The fog swirled, forming a shape, tall, gaunt, its face a smudge, holding the burrito bag. "You came," it whispered, its voice in his speakers, his radio, his head. The candle flared, and the figure lunged, its hand grazing his arm, cold as ice. Javier floored it, the candle toppling, the salt scattering. His phone glitched, the app showing a new order, driver, Javier M., destination, 13 Hollow Lane, item, yourself. He deleted DoorDash, smashed his phone, and moved in with Rosa. The orders stopped, but his new phone got texts from unknown numbers, photos of Hollow Lane, the candle burning, the figure closer each time. One showed Javier's face, blurred, smiling, holding a burrito. In July 2025, 13 Hollow Lane appeared on DoorDash again, orders flooding in. Drivers reported food vanishing, tips of $13.13, and a figure in their mirrors. Javier's old Corolla was found at the lot, empty, keys in the ignition, a cold burrito on the seat. His last Reddit post, from a burner account, read, "Don't deliver to Hollow Lane. It's hungry."